you're a product of that immigration.
What do you mean?
You told me you're 25% Ashkenazi.
I don't think it's 25. I don't think it's 25. That was like a guess. But my great great grandmother on my nan's side was an Ashkenazi Jew.
So, your nan's mum or your nan's grandma?
I think it's my nan's grandma.
Is that your dad's or your mum's?
Oh no, my
mother?
mom's. Yeah, my mom's nan. My mom's mum. Yeah.
Oh my god, bro! Sit down. Are you ready? Yeah, you're as Jewish as I am, bro.
Oh are you actually?
British
are you actually
movement.
who I think
The
it is?
British movement. We got the British
Are
movement.
you actually who I think it is? Oh, it's this guy.
My
Yo,
guy.
I reached out to you. I reached out to you for an interview, and you just ignored me, bro.
I get genuinely thousands and thousands of messages.
Bro, I've been wanting to have a conversation with you for
Let's
so
do
long.
it, bro.
Let's do it. So you are from Stamford Hill, right? Or like around that area?
No.
Okay, but you've spoken like support of like Stamford Hill, correct?
Right, what do you mean spoken support of Stamford
Like
Hill?
you agree, you don't have an issue with it being like a place in the UK that's like majority Jewish, correct?
I don't have an issue, but I think all communities that come to the UK will be better off integrating with the wider society. I think when you create silos and ghettos, it destroys community cohesion. I think for a nation to succeed, there has to be something that glues it together. And if you have just lots of little micro communities with nothing in common, isolated from each other, I don't think that's good for a nation. It may be good for those insular communities, but it's not good for the nation. So I love Stamford Hill. I love the Hasidim. I love visiting there. But I would be more than happy to see Jewish communities more. Jews in general are much more integrated. Like you've got Stamford Hill and Golders Green. I used to live in Golders Green.
I have no issue with Golders Green. I don't have an issue with Golders Green. I'm you know what's funny? I'm part Ashkenazi, okay, and I have Jewish family that goes back.
You're part Ashkenazi. Can you just pan your flag to the flag?
Yeah, bro. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Bro, yeah, you're part Ashkenazi. You're supposed to have that higher IQ. That's like me advocating for the
youth. But this is all for a reaction. I'm not even a fascist. I'm a libertarian.
Okay,
this is all for the reaction. Okay, it's all for the edginess that surrounds it. My whole debate point is I'm a segregationist. Okay. And I believe the idea that immigration is okay in small numbers. Okay. So when we have like small, like 5% in a town, it's fine. But when you look at Stamford Hill, I went there, I filmed a documentary there. I wasn't allowed to even, like, they didn't want to speak to me. They didn't want anything to do with me. And I wasn't rude to them. I went up to them. I tried to be respectful. They didn't want to have a conversation. They didn't allow me to go in their synagogues. And also the idea of, we have a housing crisis in this country. The idea of buying residential houses that could go to families that need them, but we're turning them into synagogues when this country is not even a Jewish country.
I mean, what I would say, bro, if it's a numbers thing, I reckon leave Stamford Hill alone. There's hardly anybody. There's hardly any Jews in the UK. There's millions of Muslims, hundreds of thousands, if not now, millions of Hindus, Sikhs, hundreds of thousands. Like the Jews are tiny. And I do get your concerns, but like, if you're worried about communal buildings or buildings that could be used for residential purposes being used by Jews, you're probably talking 20, 30, 40 buildings. If you're talking about other religions, other communities, then far, far, far bigger in number. And Jews also aren't interested in converting you to our religion. We're happy for you to remain whatever you are. If you want to join us, Mazal
you understand it starts with 20, 30 buildings then, and then they still are buying more. We have, Jewish business owners buying more houses.
We're Jewish. We like buying houses. That's what we do. We buy houses.
And that's fine, but instead of living in them, instead of, renting them out to people that need them.
No, we do rent them out.
No, but when I went to Stamford Hill,
yeah,
I went to, all the buildings that have the security, you know what I mean?
So it's either a school or a synagogue,
The secret synagogues, yeah. That's
they're
my
not
concern.
secret. They're not. They're
Yeah,
not
you know,
secret.
I know they're not, but I'm saying what people call them. You know what I mean? The whole
Who
rhetoric
calls them
around
secret? They're called secret synagogues now.
No,
Is
that's
that,
what
is
that's
that
what the
what the
far right
youth's
call
calling
them.
them?
Yeah, that's what the far right call them. They call them the secret synagogues.
Do
Yeah.
you know what we call them? I'll teach the far right a word. The British movement, my guys, the British Union of Fascists. We call them
Yeah.
Stiebel. A Stiebel. It's a synagogue that's in a house. It's a
Okay.
very, very common. Because Jews see ourselves as in exile, and we believe that ultimately we're all going to return to Israel, and the return is imminent if we're not already there. We're not really supposed to build big cathedrals or anything. We're supposed to have not spend a lot of money on the synagogue. See it as a temporary thing. We see ourselves as guests in the UK. We make a prayer for the royal family and the government for giving us sanctuary. We're very, very loyal and very patriotic citizens. If you go to any Jewish rally or protest, you'll see Union Jacks. If you go to any Palestinian protest, you'll see the Union Jack on fire.
I don't disagree.
And so,
as much as we could have a whole debate about Palestine and Israel, I don't like having it because it's not my biggest concern.
yeah.
It's not the thing that I'm going to sit here and go out about. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit there and be like, Palestine is Palestine that. Yeah, I don't agree with the Israeli government, but also a majority of Israelis do not agree with Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't know if you do, but I know a lot of the Israelis I speak to say I don't agree with Benjamin Netanyahu. I'd rather have a two-state solution. You know what I mean? So
I definitely would want
Israel
a
and
two-state
Palestine.
solution, but we don't.
Okay. I'm not saying you.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
For me, it's more the idea of Stamford Hill. You know, when I went there, I didn't feel like I was in England. I didn't. I genuinely felt like I was in Israel.
And I agree with that. I have this is not speaking ill of Stamford Hill. I genuinely love Hasidic culture. But I think anybody I know someone who grew up in one of the most religious. There's lots of communities in Stamford Hill, and he belonged to the most religious, which is actually one of the most, which is very anti-Israel as well. At 16 years old, he didn't speak a word of English. I think he was born here. I think that was crazy. I mean, he was in the most extreme of the extreme. It's a fringe of a fringe. But even so, I think anyone in the UK that's born in the UK that can't speak English, there's a problem with integration there. And so I think there's an absolute failure of the British government to assimilate and integrate immigrants. There's also a duty on those that came as well to learn the language and to integrate into wider society. And so, but I think if you're looking for a community to pick on, the Hasidim, they pay huge taxes because they have some very, very affluent members. Jews disproportionately contribute to the economy. Around 20% of the FTSE 100 companies were founded by Jews. We generate hundreds of thousands of jobs for British people, and we're a tiny, tiny fraction. There's between 250 and 300,000 Jews in the UK, depending how you categorize a Jew. And we disproportionately contribute to Britain. And while you can find little criticisms, like maybe with the more religious communities, there could be a little bit better integration, and I say that as a religious Jew. Maybe even having it used to be 100 years ago, the Jews were much more widely distributed. You'd have Jews in Hull, in Darlington, Orthodox religious Jews, but we tend to have congregated into either Manchester or London, because that's where the synagogues are, it's where the kosher food is, it's where the good schools are, it's also where the economic opportunities are. And as a consequence, I think we as a community could be better assimilated. And I'd say of all the communities that have joined the UK, we're probably the best assimilated of all the communities.
I don't disagree. I want to make this clear, because you might see that flag and think, oh, this guy wants me killed. I think if you equate fascism to Hitler, you're low IQ. Because, yeah, he was a fascist, but fascism is not about race worship, okay? Yes, it has become that, but it's the idea of a centralized government with a strong dictator, okay? And that's what I believe, okay? I don't believe that we have to kill all the Jews, kill all the blacks. You know, I have black friends, I have Jewish friends, fun fact. I have Muslim friends. You know, I don't have an issue with race or religion. What I have an issue with is that I feel like my country is slowly becoming, you know, not English. It's becoming this multicultural society where, you know, it's unable. Like I go to London, I feel like I'm playing Where's Wally white version, white people edition. You know what I mean? It's like I feel unable to be seen in my own country. You know what I mean? Like I thankfully live in a town where it's majority white. Okay. And we have Muslims here. And guess what? They're not bad. They work hard, you know. You don't have the radical, you know, crazy ones here. You know, it's calm. Okay. You know, fun fact, I date a Muslim girl. She's Bengali. You know what I mean? But my idea is that we're slowly losing our identity. And I hate that we pick and choose who we are about that. So for example, we focus so hard on Muslim immigration, but I would also argue that a majority of crime comes from, you know, people from Western Africa, Eastern Africa. You know, some of them might be Muslim countries, but it isn't a Muslim thing. It comes from undeveloped countries. You understand what I'm saying? Countries that haven't been developed enough for them to understand morals, you know? It's the same reason that if you go to, you know, the city of city Pakistan, they're going to be a lot more intelligent, a lot more, you know what I mean, emotionally intelligent. But then if you go to like a small village in Pakistan, yeah, they might be a bit, you know what I mean, bonkers. And I believe that's where it is. We accept near enough everyone nowadays. If you look at like the 70s and the 60s, we accepted the more intelligent ones. And guess what? We didn't have issues in this country when it came to immigration. We didn't. We flourished. We if anything, it helped the economy. It was perfect. But I mean, now we have this issue.
You're a product of that immigration.
What do you mean?
You told me you're 25% Ashkenazi.
Yeah, but
so like one of your grandparents.
I don't think it's 25. I don't think it's 25. That was like a guess. But my great grandmother on my nan's side was an Ashkenazi Jew.
So your nan, so your nan's mum or your nan's grandma?
I think it's my nan's grandma. My nan's grandma was a Jew.
And was it her daughter or her son?
We don't know. Fun fact, we do not know a lot. My nan has for years been trying to find out more about that side of our family, but we don't know.
No, but it's more like, so you got your great grandmother. I'm just.
Oh, it's on the mother's side. It's on the mother's side. Yes.
So
yes,
your nan's mum, your nan's Jewish. Is that your dad or your mum's?
Oh no, mother? My mom's. Yeah, my mom's nan. My mom's mum. Yeah.
Oh my god, bro! Sit down.
Yeah, bro. I'm a Jew, man.
Yeah, you're as Jewish as I am, bro.
I'm a Jew, man. But as I said, bro, I'm not an anti-Semite when it comes. You know what I mean? I just
you're self-hating Jew. It's a difference.
I just disagree with religion. I disagree with religion.
That's fine. That Einstein. There's many secular atheist Jews, although Einstein wasn't quite an atheist. Marx was a atheist Jew. Similar to you. He was against capitalism. He wrote a question on the Jewish. He wrote a paper on the Jewish question.
I'm pro-capitalism. I fucking hate Marx. I'll be sorry. I fucking hate Marx.
How can you can be a fascist? I guess you can be a fascist capitalist. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Mosley was actually pro businesses and all of that. Like he was pro-capitalism. To my knowledge, I'm pretty sure.
Most manifestations of fascism, the capitalism has to serve the state, and so you see huge interference.
Did you know Mosley helped Jews escape Hitler's thing? So he was paid, I think it was £40,000 by the Rothschilds. This is confirmed, by the way. It's not like a conspiracy theory. You can Google this. It came out in an MI5 leaked document. He was paid 40,000, what would have been like a couple million nowadays, to actually help Jews escape Nazi Germany and move to the UK.
So I'm not that I don't trust you. Before I
you can do your own research. Do your own research. Do your own research. I didn't believe it too.
Yeah.
But I looked into it the other day. It's true. It was like a whole MI5 leak. It came directly from our government. It wasn't like a conspiracy theory or anything. Mosley wasn't innately a skin worshipper. Mosley was like the same as like Nigel Farage or like Rupert Lau. He just didn't like immigration. I mean, okay, he wasn't like pro-democratic, but you know what I mean. Like he wasn't innately a skin worshipper.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him saying a few things about the Jews.
Yeah, he probably did. I'm not saying he didn't.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying more is that like he was a lot tamer than Mussolini, and he was not on the same category. He didn't even want us. To my knowledge, he didn't even want to ally with the Nazis. He just didn't want to be involved in the war at all. You know what I mean? And that's where I do agree as well, because I think we didn't really need to get involved. I'm sorry, that might upset your feelings, but we lost tons of soldiers. And what did that do to us? What, we helped people that weren't even British? It weren't affecting us. You know what I mean?
Just
we should have focused on ourselves.
Sorry to do this. Is your great grandmother, was she born in the UK?
No idea. As I said, we don't know a lot about that side of our family.
Like, you might not have been here, bro. You might not have
Maybe.
been here.
Maybe, you know.
I reckon, Habibi, you got to do some soul searching. You
maybe, bro.
You're a Jewish boy with the British movement of fascists on the wall, advocating that the British shouldn't have got involved in World War II because the British lost too many people. I mean, your people. I mean, I'm like you actually. I'm mixed. I'm half English, half Jewish. Mixed ancestry ethnically. And I realized that my loyalty was to Israel over England. And so I left. So I left and I came to Israel. Why? Did you say why?
No, genuinely why? Yeah, genuinely why? I want to know.
So I have tremendous love for England, tremendous love for the English people. But I say, although I'm mixed, I'm Jewish. I'm halakhically Jewish. I'm religiously Jewish. And this is not to speak ill of British and British culture. It was, not so much anymore, incredible. The contribution from this tiny little island to the rest of the world is phenomenal. And if I was probably any other person than Jewish, I would have championed that and clung to that identity. But I believe the Jewish contribution is just unparalleled. With this tiny little desert tribe, there's 15 million or 16 million of us in the world today, and we've always been a tiny percentage of the world. And we've raised profits. We've shaped modernity. We've shaped the course of history. The entire world knows the name of your great-great-great-great-grandfather, Jacob, and his father, Isaac, and his father, Abraham. When the British were, to quote badly, Benjamin Disraeli, when the ancestors of the English were sacrificing children in ponds and living in huts, our ancestors were serving in the court of King David, serving in the temple of King Solomon, or of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so I'm in love with Jewish history, with the Jewish contribution to the world. And that's not to take away from the English contribution, but Judaism shapes my thinking. It defines what I do when I wake up in the morning. And I have tremendous pride in that. And it's not to take away from any other nation, but I see myself as separate from English. I see myself as Jewish first. And that's why. And also with the death spiral that the UK is in, I believe there was a point in history where you could be proudly Jewish and proudly British, proudly English. That was a thing. Today, I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples. One, every time I get in my car in Israel and I go for a drive, I see a new highway being built, a new city being constructed. The economy is booming. Everywhere you go, you see progression. I go to the UK, they don't build roads. The roads are covered in potholes. All the highways were built in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s. England is dying. It's decaying in front of our eyes. And the second thing is society is dead. Here, when I get an Amazon delivery in my community, they deliver it to a little shop. The shop has a wall filled with shelves. You go in, you don't give your ID, you don't give them a number, you walk to the shelf, you take your parcel, and you don't take your neighbours. It's a high-trust society because everybody sees each other as family. And that does not exist in the UK today. You don't know your neighbours. And so not only am I in love with the Jewish nation, the Jewish history, the Jewish contribution to the world, what was great about Britain is gone.
Do you agree, though, with how So I don't support Hamas. I want to make that very clear. Hamas are pieces of shit, and I have no respect for anyone who, you know, is a terrorist. But with how the Israeli government treats the PA, do you think that's fair?
The Palestinian Authority, bro. People have no idea. So I've just shown another guy this. I'll just show you. I'm making a video. I'm releasing it next week. It's called The Palaces of Palestine. This is a screenshot. Well, look, where's the camera? There. That's a place called Michmas. I'm basically going around Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, what you would refer to maybe as Palestine, and filming the reality. Because people imagine that the Palestinians here, they're living in poverty, they're oppressed, they're downtrodden. I just put out a 40-minute video today, this evening, where I'm talking with a Palestinian, an Arab, from not so far from my house. And we disagree. His biggest issue is he doesn't have freedom of movement. I agree that's an issue. But that's a security issue. And if there wasn't a security threat, he would have the exact same liberties and freedoms that I would have. And so I don't think the PA is hard done by. I think the PA are rolling in money.
But have you not seen the whole thing about how the Israeli banks have been withholding their money for, I think, about 4 months now?
Do you know the key reason for that is they have a thing called pay to slay. And pay to slay is if you kill a Jew and you go to jail or you're killed, you get a pension. And the other day I went to a beautiful village. I was filming it that they're building just north of Ramallah. And they're constructing, it's not finished, it's on my Instagram and YouTube, you can see it. And they're building these big villas and they're free. You can have a free house if you're a Palestinian. There's one catch. Do you know what the caveat is?
What?
You need to have spent 5 years in jail for security crimes, which means you've killed Jews, basically terrorism. And so the government subsidizes the murder of Jews, incentivizes the murder of Jews, and that's the key reason that the money is being withheld. You abandon pay to slay, you get the money. It is that simple.
I'm not super educated on that. I can't comment. That's why I said originally I didn't want to stray too much on Israel, because listen, I have my opinions, okay, but I'm not educated on either side. You know what I mean? So I'd rather much say, okay, I'll do my research, because I'm always learning new stuff. You know what I mean? Just like I've learned new stuff right here. You've taught me something new right here.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I just want to see one day, you know, a world where, you know, you guys can have your side, they can have their side. You know what I mean?
It's not you guys, it's us guys. You're Jewish,
us
Habibi.
Guys. Bro,
I tell you what, you can do, bro. You know, as someone that is Jewish, there's a thing called birthright. It's a free holiday to Israel. As long as you're not over 27 years old and you haven't been here on a group tour before, you can cash in on that birthright.
I don't think they'd let me in, man. I don't think they'd let me in.
I can pull some strings.
You can pull some strings?
Yeah, we'll get Yossi Farah
you know what?
to lay some tefillin.
Genuinely, I would love to go, because as I said, I'm filming a documentary on Stamford Hill, and I did say to myself, I would love to go to Israel and do a similar thing in Israel. But I am worried that I won't be allowed in and I'll just be sent back and it'll be a waste of time and money. So, hey, if you can pull those strings, man.
No, I mean, basically, if you are halakhically Jewish, like, genuinely, if your mum's mum is Jewish and you can prove that the government isn't allowed to not let you in. It's called the right of return. You have as much of a right to be. It's a Jewish nation.
Even with me having that flag in my politics.
I mean, you might get your head kicked in, but they'll let you in the country.
Yeah, okay, fair enough, man. I mean, it's been a good conversation, genuinely. It's actually crazy. When I first saw you, I thought it was like a picture or like an AI thing. I didn't actually think I'd be speaking to you, man. I've
enjoyed it. I appreciate that. I enjoyed the conversation. I love it when I out a Nazi as a Jew. It's one of the best things. Fascist.
I disagree with Hitler. I want to make that clear. I don't think Hitler's a good bro. As I said, I think skin worship needs to be separated from fascism. All I want is a strong centralized government. Democracy has failed the UK. Trust me, I've lived in it. You know what I mean? We get a new, like, look at Andy Burnham, bro. He comes in, he does like small things, right? Like, you know what I mean? He put the VAT off fucking electricity. Again, I don't agree with everything he does, but you know, someone else is going to come in a few years later and change that. You know what I mean? And that's why I think democracy is flawed, because one, no one supports who's in power. Let's be real. Look at Keir Starmer. No one fucking liked him. And then also the next guy is just going to come in and change everything anyway. So
it doesn't have to be that way. That's another example, by the way, where Israel just excels compared to the UK. We have incredible politicians. You may not like them in the West, but they're statesmen of old. Like Netanyahu, when you listen to Netanyahu speak, he's a statesman. When you listen to his accomplishments, whether it's the Abraham Accord making more peace than any other prime minister before him, whether it's the economy, liberalizing the markets, like he's transformed Israel. He's a great statesman. His competition, people like Naftali Bennett, incredible state. You look at the empty vessels that are elected as British politicians, public servants, Keir Starmer. They're nobodies. They're wallflowers. If they started talking to you in a party, you'd walk away or fall asleep. And I got no love for British politicians and British democracy. But democracy, but when you read Disraeli, what a character. What a Churchill. What a powerhouse of a politician, a statesman. You just that's not the modern politician. That's not the modern Britain.
Well, yeah, and it's going to continue to be that way. And I can give you my reasons to why I think that. You'll probably disagree, but you know what I mean, man. It's been a good conversation, brother.
Likewise, look forward to seeing you in Tel Aviv with tefillin and the yarmulke.
It would be Jerusalem, man. I can't lie. I like the old society.
So I'm Jerusalem.
There, bro.
That's where I live. I'm just south of Jerusalem.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful in Jerusalem. I love old countries that have their old kind of. It's like in Yemen, you have Sana'a. Say what you want about Yemenis because you're Israeli. Sana'a, I think, is beautiful.
I got huge. I pray with Yemeni Jews. I got crazy love for Yemen. Enough. Yeah. There's actually Yemeni Jews in Stamford Hill. Anyway, take care, bro.
Take care, man.